Hey, welcome. This is Becky with A Better Way to Homeschool, and do I have a treat for you? Twice a month, I have a private homeschool huddle membership group that meets in a closed Facebook group to speak about homeschooling issues that are targeted. So we talk about prayer, we talk about math, we talk about writing, we talk about attitudes, all kinds of stuff. Well, today's topic is about dealing with the clutter in our house. And I don't know about you, but I purposefully left my iron hanging over there in the background so that you could see. I'm a real life homeschool mom dealing with clutter in my life. And so as a homeschooler, I know I'm not alone. And I thought, well, we're going to talk about decluttering here in the huddle today, but how cool would it be to bring on an expert? I am so excited, so thrilled to bring my friend Sarah to talk to us about decluttering. So without any further ado, I'm going to pop Sarah up onto the screen and we're going to go ahead and get started. So this is my friend Sarah Mueller with Declutter My Home. I love this girl. I met Sarah about 2 years ago in a blogging class, and I fell in love with her authenticity and her heart to be able to share the golden nuggets of wisdom that she has inside. It started with a blogging thing, but very quickly turned into a friendship and just an amazing partnership. She's one of my biggest cheerleaders, and I love her so much. So Sarah, welcome to A Better Way to Homeschool.
You are so sweet. Oh my word. Thank you so much for having me, Becky. So fun.
What's really cool is that sometimes you get invited to a party and somebody introduces you to one of their friends, and it's not until later that you realize, oh, that was her. And that's what my friends don't realize that they are witnessing right at this moment. Sarah, okay, so Sarah, what we do here at A Better Way to Homeschool, in a closed group, we have a homeschool huddle mentor group that meets twice a month where we dive deep into a topic that's relevant to us as homeschool moms. And so our topic for today, serendipitously, was going to be about clutter. And okay, just in full disclosure, I am not a clutter expert. I'm actually a decluttering expert. I am a clutter expert. And I'm in a season of life where I don't really care so much, if that makes sense. But I know I need to deal with it. And so as I was talking with my homeschool moms, I'm not the only homeschooler that deals with clutter. And so I'm thrilled because I'm going to have you tell a little bit about your story. So you are a declutter expert, but it didn't start there. It started with a sippy cup, didn't it?
Yes, it
So
did.
Tell us your story. How did it start?
It absolutely did. Yeah, so I am a former homeschool mom, right? So 4 boys here, and you got 5, so there's 9 between us. Pretty good.
Yes.
Pretty awesome. Moms of boys unite.
Yay.
Moms of girls, you are awesome too. So I have 4 boys, and we used to have, like, I just wanted to pack my house full, right? I mean, that's what you do as a homeschool mom. You need all the things.
Right.
You need all the curriculum, you need all the educational toys, you're running a preschool, you're running an elementary school, you're running a music studio, right?
Right.
And then of course you just need all the things. And then of course you need all the clothes and all the kitchen, because you got to cook for these people because they like to eat all the time, right?
Right. All the time.
So you need all those things too. And it just goes on and on and on. And so we just had a lot of stuff, right? I was just in accumulation mode. It was just really fun to collect things and try things out. And, so I was doing that. But also, of course, I wanted my home to look nice. I wanted it to be put together. I wanted to be able to find stuff. And so I spent a huge amount of my time, like, looking for the perfect organizational solution. Right? If I can just find the right baskets, I just need new baskets. I just need a better chore chart. I just need to train these kids better. We need a different cleanup song or whatever, right? Right, all of that. And, of course, none of that really worked that well. If you have too much stuff, you can, you know, organize the heck out of your home, but it's still really going to be kind of a losing battle. At least it was for me. And I wasn't happy spending all that time doing that because like my kids weren't playing with the gazillion toys, right? And I wasn't using all the kitchen gadgets and appliances and things like that. So it was like, why am I doing this? Something isn't quite adding up here, but it didn't really click for me until I took a trip to visit my stepsister. And I asked her for a sippy cup, right? I brought one of my kids with me. I think he was like 2 years old at the time. Right. And I said, can we, do you have an extra sippy cup? And she's like, yeah, sure. It's in the cupboard. And I opened the cupboard and there's 3 sippy cups in this cupboard, right, Bekki? And so I had been, and I'm not even exaggerating, I had been Googling it was on Pinterest looking for how can I get these to look, you know, I need a new cupboard, I need new bins for all this million sippy cups and the dishes, you know, the cute little kid dishes, right? You need their own dishes, color coded, you know, all that, but they didn't have that. They had 3, you know, they had one to use. They had one that could be, you know, getting through the dishwasher, and they had one extra one, and that was it. And I was like, what? Get out. What is going on here? You know? And so she told the story that they had gone through all of their stuff, like down to every last piece of paper that she had ever, you know, drawn on during her 12 years of school. Like her mother kept every piece of paper and they'd gone through everything and they'd gotten rid of, you know, most of it, just keeping the things that they wanted, things that they used and that they needed. And it was like, wow, like I'd never heard of that before. It was like, wow, this is really kind of amazing. You know, and it was, you know, I had always kind of thought that like if you were going to be a minimalist, which is what they were, like you wouldn't have any stuff, right? It would be empty. But, that was not the case. And they just had a really warm, welcoming house. They had everything they needed. And I was like, this is great. So I left that trip and I was just so fired up. I just really was like, yeah, we got to get rid of everything, you know, go home and just get rid of it all. I was just on fire. And, you know, of course that was a little too far to the other extreme. Right. But over time, you know, trial and error, I managed to figure out, you know, how do I make these decisions? How do we let things go? What do we keep? What do we not keep? You know, how do we get the kids on board? All of that, you know, over time. And I was writing about it on my blog and just kind of people just loved it. And, you know, it seems to work really well and people like the way I explain things. So that's how I kind of came to be where I am now.
But it's not just, you don't just help people get rid of sippy cups. Like, you're being way too modest. Like Sarah's the queen of decluttering. I mean, and I was chatting with her before. She had this challenge going this last week called OLAB, Organize Like a Boss. And the brilliance of this gal, wherever she is on your screen, is that she's able to tear down the process of something that you would need to do and to break it into one actionable item that you can get done in a relatively small period of time. And so since that sippy cup to today, you have many moms like me that look to you for wisdom and encouragement, not even necessarily because I think it's just because of your heart and because of your ability to break it into bite-sized pieces. Don't you think?
I think so.
I think so. So when I polled my audience, all these moms out here, and we were talking about homeschooling and the level of clutter, I was asking them, okay, so where are your biggest issues? Is it paper? Is it dealing with a particular room? Is it the whole house? And there was this overwhelming response of, it's my whole house, but I have no idea how to get started because it's overwhelming. I showed this room. My moms know this is my, I share this space with my boys and they do everything from ironing and Legos. And I'm missing the ability to organize this space. And they know that this is my part of my life, but the rest of my house is relatively under control. But so from your perspective now, with however many years you've been helping moms like me, how do you take that huge elephant of my entire house has issues? There's clutter everywhere. How do you start? Where do you start?
Yes, that is the big question, right? Like, where do you start if you feel like everything needs work? And that, having that question, that thought really puts a lot of people into kind of panic mode, right? They freeze. Either they freak out or they freeze, one or the other, right? Fight or flight,
Right.
one. And neither of those are helpful, right?
Right.
You have to be able to take action. So what I recommend people do is you got to put your blinders on, right? Like, you cannot look at the whole house. You cannot look at, you've got laundry and you've got toys and you've got, you've got to plan the lessons and there's the grading and they're hungry. Like, you have to have all of that, and you have to put your blinders on. And the only way that you can tackle this is just one step at a time. Right? You cannot, I know, especially as a homeschool mom, like, we are experts of multitasking, right?
Right.
Holding the baby in one arm and stirring the pot and being like, did you do the next division problem? And then you're talking to the, and be like, so you are multitasking, but like, the less you can do that, the better, because it just makes you crazy over time. But I just like to start with the kitchen. So I like to start with the kitchen, and I always point people, just let's clear off the front of your fridge, right? If you have a fridge with magnets on it, like if you have a stainless steel fridge and there's nothing on it, you got to pass, right? And you've done the first task. But for a lot of people, they have a lot of stuff on their fridge, and it just kind of piles up over time. And it's a lot of visual clutter that a lot of people don't even realize is affecting them, right? Because it's just part of the landscape, and they don't notice it. But if you do have things on your fridge, and if you take the 5 minutes, I mean, we're talking 5 minutes to take everything off, give it a quick clean, and then put back what really should be there,
right?
Tidy it up. You're not going to believe how different your kitchen feels just by doing that, right? And that's the first step, is just to do the fridge, right? Not the inside of the fridge, because that's a bigger job, but just the door of the fridge. And, it just helps you to focus, and it gets you thinking, okay, gosh, there's a lot of things here that I didn't even know were on the fridge. Last month's birthday party invitation, and, the whatever, the art project that, is a little bit worse for the wear, and we're ready to let that go. All of that.
Because we're blind to it, because it's there.
Exactly. You are absolutely blind to it. And when you clean it up, you're like, oh, kitchen looks like it looks bigger, and all the fridge. And it just will start you on that path to, finding, okay, what's the next thing I can do? And the next thing that we usually do is I have people go through their coffee mugs, and some people have a lot of coffee mugs, and they go, wow, yeah, right. I don't even like this coffee mug. Why do we have this coffee mug? This one is too small, and this one I don't like the handle, and they just take up all this room, and this one is chipped, and so we have them pull out all the coffee mugs, and like, so anyone can do that, right? If I tell you to clean up your kitchen, you might go, oh, that's like, you're telling me way too much. But if I say, go get all the coffee mugs out, I can do that. I can totally do that, right? It's focused, and it is, your brain can wrap itself around that. So,
which is something that I love, and that's what I'm talking about. Why I don't think that people understand how blessed they are to have you here, because that level of focus of a task, the first Organize Like a Boss task this week, I think it was the first one, was to take a container and to containerize something in the kitchen. And so I'm watching your video as I'm doing my hair, and I'm looking at my makeup organizer, and I'm getting ready, and I thought, I wonder how much stuff in this I actually use. So I pull out the 5 things out of the 47,000 that are in this organizer, and I thought, okay, I'm going to take this container and I'm going to go deal with the cord clutter on my kitchen counter. I could not believe the difference of what it felt like to look at the same things, the phone and the charger and the dog collar, the same things in an organized space. And I never would have done it if you hadn't given me that bite-sized piece. Like, Bekki, you can go do this. And I'm like, okay, I can clean off my refrigerator. I can do that. I'm in the kitchen 100,000 times a day. Anyway, that's a task. So I love that. So clean the fridge, coffee mugs, or whatever the next task is.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
So starting in the kitchen, because we're homeschoolers, right? So it's like having a house full of hobbits where they want first breakfast and second breakfast and luncheon and snackies and all this thing. So we're in there all the time anyway. So starting there is a good thing. What about the other big question is, what about paper? Do you have, now I've been homeschooling for over 20 years and I'm a minimalist with paper. And even with that, I still have tons of paper. I don't keep everything. We're really big on taking pictures of keepsakes rather than keeping all the keepsakes. But people have curriculum, they have art projects, they have just all the pieces of paper. How do they attack that? What would be takeaway tips for dealing with paper?
Specifically for homeschool paper or just like paper in general?
Let's focus on, well, let's do paper in general. Do you have, so I'm a stat here, because here's maybe you can answer my question. I'm a visual person. If I can't see it, it doesn't exist.
Yes.
So that means that I have stacks of paper everywhere so that I pay my bills. I remember to ask you the right questions. I'm taking notes on the tips. So if I don't have the paper, it's non-existent. So I've got stacks of paper everywhere.
Yep, I hear you. Okay, a couple things on there. We have a whole course on paperwork because paper is such a big struggle. So yeah, we do. We have a whole 6-week course that we could share the link with that. But I hear you on like wanting stuff visible, and that's so common. That's how you end up with piles, because you're like, I can't just put this in a drawer in a file because I'm afraid that I'm not going to remember to do something with it. Right? Like I need this out. And that makes a lot of sense, right? Because it's like a visual trigger. But the problem is that, if you only have a few pieces of paper out, then it works, right? If you only have 3 pieces of paper on your kitchen counter, no problem. Like then they're there, you can find them. But if you have, if that paper that you need is buried in a stack this high, then it's not working anymore as that trigger.
Right.
Right. So, your system kind of breaks down at that point. So there's like a lot of different ways you can handle that. I love, and you may love this too, but I use a lot of notebooks, right? So I have notebooks and I organize them by topic. So, you might have one that you're working through with just notes, right? So then it's not a loose piece of paper. And it's in your work notebook, or it's in your math notebook, or it's in your, meal planning notebook. So that's why things are not loose. And, at the minimum, you could put your hands on the notebook, and the notebook may be on the counter. Right. It's not like all these loose papers that are, falling out and, getting wet and whatever else, like that kind of thing. So that's one way to do it is, have things organized by notebook. And but the thing is whatever system you use, you need to be doing some maintenance on that, regularly, maybe once a week, right? And same thing with the fridge, right? Like you need to be going through the stuff that's on the fridge every so often, not every day, not, maybe not even every week, but you need to be checking in with it to see, okay, what needs to go up, what needs to come down, is there something that I need to do here? Whatever system you're using, you want to be doing that maintenance. And I call that the office day. So, so for me, my office day is about a half an hour on Fridays where I go through. And so I have what I call I have short-term filing, right? So let me show you this. Grab this over here. I have short-term filing. So I have this file sorter, super portable, right? So if something comes in, the mail comes in and there's a bill, I put it in my to pay folder, right? Now, a lot of people will be like, no, I can't do that. I need to see it. But the thing is, the more that we depend on our brains, like the more our brains are going to be full of stuff like don't forget to pay the electric bill. And then there's not going to be any brain power left over for, the questions like, why is the sky blue, Mom? You're going to be like, I don't know, I got nothing. So you have to, I think the busier you are, and the more kids you have, the more you have to depend on your systems. You have to be able to put systems in place that you can rely on. You have to download your brain because if you're just trying to remember stuff, then you're just full, right? You're going to be full of, oh, I needed to get, whatever at the grocery store, as opposed to knowing, hey, it's on my list. I can forget about it until it's time to go shopping, because I know I've got a shopping list. I can depend on it, and I don't have to worry about it until then. So that's why, that was like a really long answer, but in general, figuring out what kind of a system is going to work for you that you can then rely on, that doesn't require you to have everything visible. Like you can imagine, you'd have papers like all over, all the walls if you need to see them all, and eventually you're going to run out of room. So,
well, and a story, and that's funny because my father would actually, our friend Rachel has the big Post-its and big paper. My father would actually sink a 4-inch nail in the wall and hang up flip charts all around the house, which is why my brain is so visual, because it had, a 3-month calendar and everything we needed from the store and all the activities. And that was his system.
Yeah.
So I grew to, it's my crutch, but I still don't remember everything. So you're completely right that my brain can't hold everything. So if I hold those two things in my hand, if I have my house needing to be decluttered and all this paperwork that I need a system, is there an obvious one that should go first?
I think probably like, where's the quick win?
Okay.
I would do some quick wins first. So maybe that's just getting your kitchen counter cleared off.
Right.
Maybe it's going through and packing up like 75% of the toys. If your kids are trashing the playroom, like maybe you just pack up 75, and I'm telling you, they're not going to miss it. And they're going to be happier. They're going to thank you for the most part. Just go through and just be ruthless, and you don't even have to get rid of them. Just pack them up, put them away. That could be what's a really quick win that can help you today? Like, what can you do in an hour that will make a difference?
Okay.
And it's going to kind of be different for everyone. I do like to start in the kitchen and, spend a lot of time there. Really getting started is the hardest part. And then picking, like, don't try to do everything, but figure out where are you working right now? Are you working on the kitchen counter? Like, don't start on the counter and then move to the pantry and then, oh, I forgot this, like, stop yourself and be like, nope, we're working on the counter right here. And, that's why when we do our challenges, they're so effective, because people know exactly what they're supposed to do. It's almost like when you tell your kid, if you dump 14 assignments on your kid, they're going to be like, whoa, okay. But you teach them, right? You're like, okay, here's your list, you start at the top, and, you teach them how to work through their work. It's the same thing with decluttering or with organizing your house. Now, you said you like big flip charts. Let me show you I have this thing that you're going to love.
Okay.
This.
Isn't she great? So just a reminder, if you guys are on and you're commenting, you're welcome to comment. You do have to say your name so that we can see anybody that's coming. Oh my goodness, look at that.
This is my bulletin board.
Okay.
I think it's big too. It's like, I think it's like 4 foot square. This is like insulation, like that foam insulation. And I just covered it with linen. I stapled linen over it. I spent like $10 to put this together. And then and it's portable. I don't have a wall I can put it on. I lean it against my windows. I love it. So, and it's, it's kind of messy. It could use a little maintenance, but just in general, I get that what you said about wanting things visible, and I want that too. So, I'm not saying you should never have anything up on the wall, or, I'm not saying you shouldn't have a big bulletin board, because they are fantastic. It's just a question of figuring out, what needs to go there, and, how are you using it? Like, make sure it's serving you, as opposed to just being like a dumping ground that you never look at it, right? Like, you don't just become a vertical pile with things piled up, and tacked on top of each other. So
exactly, I'm sitting amongst 3 of vertical piles right now that started with great intentions of things that I was going to do, but it goes back to that system that I don't have the system. So once it goes in the pile, my brain thinks, oh, that's the most efficient, but truly it's not. It gets lost. And I spend more time reorganizing my stack to try to remember what's in the stack versus taking that same amount of time to say, maybe I need a pay bill file or whatever the categories would be.
Yeah.
Right.
And, I think the other thing is really just like, where can you cut out like what you are doing? And I know it's kind of like, we want to do all the things. We want to teach all the wonderful things. And, maybe our kids just want to shoot Nerf guns and get dirty,
Right. Well, and Nerf guns are sometimes that's exactly what they need to do.
Yeah.
And I'm a minimalist when it comes to homeschooling, and my moms know that. So I'm all about starting from the heart and teaching them from the inside out, and focusing not just on the lesson, but the core, which is the same thing here. So I want to transition into the classes and the things that you offer, because we have now I have a wide spread of moms. So I've got the moms with the baby on the hip, maybe still in the tummy, and the debris up to their knees, as they're also trying to teach how to write essays and things. So they're completely overwhelmed, and I've been there. And then I also have moms like me that have the older kids that are transitioning from high school into college type thing. And one of the things I was thinking, and I might be getting ahead of myself, so I'll circle back. The classes that you offer, these are huge life skills. So learning how to deal with paperwork, learning how to declutter your house and keep it decluttered. These could easily be high school electives, couldn't they?
I'm sure they could. I never thought of that. That's really interesting.
They really, because it only takes 60 hours of work to earn you half a credit.
Oh, wow. That's
and 120 hours of work earns you a full high school credit.
Oh, wow.
And in high school, so this is really cool. So because I want to talk about your classes, I want to plant the seed for the homeschool moms that are watching, that it might not just be for them. If they could team up with their kids, especially their older kids, and teach them and equip them with these skills, not only could they get their house in order, but they could also knock off a high school credit at the same time.
Wouldn't that be amazing? That's such
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting to see that. I mean, when my oldest was in kindergarten, first grade, like he wasn't ready for reading, right? And I was a brand new homeschool mom, and I was like, I don't know, I kept hearing, sometimes boys take longer. So I was like, okay, fine. Maybe we can't work on reading right now, but I can teach him how to do chores around the house. And that kid got so good at, emptying the dishwasher. He was super efficient, and like laundry and making his bed. And he still knows how to do that stuff. Not that he loved, wonderfully enjoys it, but he has some skills now. And I think it is so important. And kids don't necessarily learn that if we don't teach them, so I'm a huge fan of that stuff. Huge.
Yeah. So with the moms with the littles, what would be the ones that are completely in over their head? So I want you to tell me what you got. So I know the Organize Like a Boss was fantastic.
Oh.
It was fantastic because it was bite-sized pieces. It was actionable, and you saw results. It wasn't just that I did something. It was like,
yeah,
maybe I can, because I toyed with the thought of, and I've done this a few times with classes like your classes and stuff, where I think, oh, I can just do this on my own. And I'll get one thing done, and then I'll look up and it'll be 3 or 6 months later, and I'll be like, okay, wait, the piles are deeper now. It's like, what was I thinking? So what is this OMH thing that you have? I don't know anything about it, but I'm so excited.
Right.
Because it's you. So tell me about OMH.
You were so sweet. Okay. Yeah. So OMH is Organize My Home, right? This stands for Organize My Home, which is the name of my membership. So we do really practical, really bites. I'm all about the bite-sized, right?
Right.
Bite-sized tasks in that group. And the challenge that you were referring to was like a preview of what's going to continue on inside of Organize My Home.
Meaning it's cool and doable.
Okay. And I think it's just a question of knowing, okay, where do I focus, right? You said, where do I start? Like everyone was so excited because they were like, well, I can do that. I can grab a container and put stuff in it, and whoa, look at what I did. And, the thing is, like, once you get started, a lot of the time, you spend 5 minutes and you're like, well, I could keep going. And then you spend 5 or 10 more minutes, which you may not think that you have, but once you get going, it's like nothing, right? Like time just compresses, and all of a sudden you found your nightstand, or you found your kitchen counter, or, you did that pile of laundry or whatever. You pulled a whole bag of stuff to go to the thrift store, whatever. It's really, really bite-sized and really focused. And we work really hard at making it manageable so that nobody's getting overwhelmed, right? So that's what goes on inside of that group. It's a Facebook group. It's a membership. We have a free 7-day trial, and after that, you can join. It's only $14.99 a month, or you can do the whole year if you want and get two months free. But just so much fun. I go live in there pretty much every weekday, more or less, and we just get things done, like just one little step at a time. And I think what we create is the feeling that, hey, I can do this. Like, people go from thinking, oh, it doesn't make a difference. What's the point anyway? My house is already such a mess. And I mean, I really do. I work with people who cannot walk in some of their rooms in their house. Like I tend to, somehow I just attract people that have that state of their home, but just because I guess I give them hope, right? And, we have people that have less clutter too, but I love working with people that have so much stuff and they don't have a lot of hope. Right? They really don't. And they're like, I'm at my wit's end here. If you have to have the repairman over, or your mother-in-law is coming, or your mother, it's like panic attack. Right. And so after they start working with me, then it's like the sun comes out and they go, wow, I can't believe what I did. Like, I've only spent a little bit of time here and there, just, baby steps, and they always say, well, it's not much, but, and I'm like, wait a second, are you kidding me? It is much. Don't talk like that, because look at what you did. Look what you did. And, we have people that are maintaining now, like people that have just gotten rid of so much stuff. Like I have one student in my course, and she's in my Declutter Your Home course, which is more in depth, but she has been finding, and I think she's in her 40s. She keeps finding things that she wore in high school, and she's like, nursing bra. And she's like, you won't believe what I found. It's so funny. We're cracking up because she's like, I guess I don't need the nursing bra anymore. My youngest.
I guess not.
So they're maintaining. And so that we just show them, hey, you can do this. We're here with you. And the same thing, right? The power of community. And the power of knowing you are not alone is not to be underestimated.
Right.
It is not. It is a really, really big deal. And I can tell you're not alone, and you might believe me, but that is probably you're probably gonna lose steam over time, right? You really, really need a group of people that you can go to that understand and that can remind you, hey, we're good here. You had a hard day, or kids trashed the house 5 minutes after you cleaned it up. But that's normal. And guess what? Because you've been working with us for a while now, even though the house is trash, it's only going to take you 10 minutes to clean it up.
Right.
And it's shocking when that happens. So that's what we give is we help people make progress, and we help them keep going, because that's the hard part, right? It's not hard to buy an ebook and be like, yeah, this is great. You watch a couple of videos, you're like, great. And then before you know it, things look worse than ever.
Right. It's like trying to lose weight for the first time, where you'll lose that first 5 pounds, and then you'll go to the yogurt shop because you feel so good that you just lost that 5 pounds, and then you turn around and you can't get in your jeans anymore. But I love the idea. So the Organize My Home, it's like the Organize Like a Boss.
Yes.
So it's bite-sized pieces. Does it deal with clutter too, or is it just about organize? So
it is organizing, cleaning, and decluttering.
So it's the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious. And it's only how much did you say?
It's $14.99 a month, or if you go for the yearly package, it's you get 2 months free. And there's a 7-day free trial, so you can try it out if you're interested. Yeah.
Okay, so you can take baby steps where you can see. Okay, so this is to everybody else that's out there. I keep looking. I don't know where my eyes are, but try it. This is 7 days. Sarah is amazing. So And if you're in clutter like I am, what I found, which was so encouraging because I don't have time.
Mhm.
I have got all my kids here. I'm teaching one to drive. I was coaching one through biology, helping one kid edit a screenplay, writing classes, doing all this homeschool stuff, have no time. And I thought, Organize Like a Boss came in. I thought, I'm just going to try. I'm going to see if I can get some of these things done. And I couldn't believe how I was actually able to do it. The tasks were so they were so simple, but then I loved it. So if that's what this is, then it's amazing. And that's where I knew that it was going to be something like this, but I didn't know what it was yet.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it going, wait, I have high schoolers and I'm in the process of building their elective file right now, giving them opportunities. And this is I'm also building stuff of life skills for other homeschool moms too. And this is huge. If you were to do like a private class or a private, something for kids in school, we'd spend more than this as homeschoolers to get this type of training that is not just filling in a little bubble. This is the kind of skill that translates and transfers into everything. Into life, into parenting, and in the future. So as we're looking at our kids as homeschool moms, this is not, we don't drop our kids off at the school bus at 8 o'clock and pick them up at 3. These are, I'm guessing, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing that these tasks are 5 to 20 minute activities that we could bring our kids along with and say, okay, our task for today is to find a container and to deal with this clutter on the kitchen counter. Who's with me? Or getting all the sippy cups out of the counter or a cupboard. I don't know. I think it's like a match made in heaven to
I love it. Yeah.
organize our houses, train our kids, and have a coach along with us. So
I love it. I think that's fantastic. And, we really, it's not, I mean, the vehicle is, the organizing and the clutter, but really everything that I do is just really infused with mindset and attitude. And I know you are too, right?
Yeah.
So I think we're totally on the same page there. You have to have the right attitude. And if you're kind of overwhelmed with your life, then it's really hard to do that. You may know, I'm supposed to, have a good attitude. I'm supposed to be grateful here. Why am I a mess? We talk about that. I'm really, really interested in that because that is like the foundation of how we got where we are and how we get out of it. And so that's a really big part of everything that I teach. Like that comes into everything that I'm teaching and everything that we do. So.
Right. Well, and from a home perspective, when we struggle measuring ourselves against the world or against what kids are doing in, school, and you look at a task like taking the clutter behind me and getting rid of some, organize and categorizing things. That's scientific method thinking. It's gathering data, it's organization. It is, there's so much in there. You can even say, okay, how much do you think would 75% of this paper, what would it look like? It's cross-curricular in homeschooling. It's not just chores. It truly is, it can take the place of a science activity or a reading activity or a math activity. And it can really just I'm preaching to myself because I'm trying to get, this summer's all about organization and life skills in the Sayler household. And so I'm thinking, I need to do this with my boys. So
you just mentioned that, thought just popped in my head. One of the bonuses that we have when you do join Organize My Home is a guide. My friend Kathy Terrell, I don't know if you know her, but she's an eBay expert. So she has given us a guide to getting started selling on eBay. So how fun would that be if it's called the ABCs of eBay selling? How fun would that be if you set your kids loose and we're like, hey guys, go and read this guide and, put some stuff on eBay and you can have the profit of whatever you sell. Like,
how cool would that be?
You could really get your kids all fired up. And, they might have a little trial and error, with the shipping, like we got to find the right box and
right.
like what's a good price and how much did we make? What was our profit? You know, all of that. It could be so much fun.
See? And that is such the best thing. So I'm saying, hey, okay, Mariah, see you later. Okay, so I think that this is amazing. It's like a match made in heaven. So I think it's really, really cool. Okay, so my big takeaways. So I took some notes. So if anybody wants notes, let me know and I'll type this up later. But bite-sized pieces.
Yes, always.
So I'm going to just say in bullets. So bite-sized pieces, starting with the kitchen, even with something like clearing off the fridge, dealing with visual clutter. Then moving on to categorizing categories of things like coffee cups, or in my house, it might be things like chopsticks or something. Why do we have 100,000 pairs of chopsticks? There are only 6 of us in the house. And then as far as paperwork goes, to take the time to actually learn a system to deal. And does your paper class about how to deal with paperwork, is that bite-sized pieces too? Does it work?
That is a little bigger. I mean, it's a little bit more, like the lessons maybe 20 minutes or so. Like the video is probably 5 to 10 minutes, and then it takes a little bit more time to get into it. But you know, they're pretty focused. And actually, we have the first 3 lessons of the paperwork course are included in Organize My Home. So you get the whole archive of everything we've done over the past year. So you know, you can get started and you can get a really good handle on kind of getting, maybe not necessarily the backlog, but just putting a system in place. You can work through that as well.
Okay.
You get the whole archive when you join.
And then quick wins, things that we can do with our kid. We can bring our kids along. We can do things like, especially moms with littles, paring down their toys, where we take 75% of their stuff away. I've done that before. I've taken 100% of my kids' stuff away before, and they were 100% happier after they recovered from the shock, of course.
Right, yeah.
It was amazing. Okay, so how do we get into the Organize My Home? Where do we find these details?
Oh, you know what? Can I share a link with you? Let's see.
I don't know. Let's see.
I should have given you that beforehand.
And if not, I'm going to send all this out to my moms. So.
Okay. All right. There is the link. I don't know if you can grab that or not.
It's looking. I'm not seeing it. Private chat. Oh, you put it in private chat, I think. Yep. Yes. So let me grab it.
That is Organize My Home. And we have a special deal for your moms. If they do join Organize My Home, and they just need to send me an email, and I will send them a copy of my ebook, Step-by-Step Decluttering, which is like my decluttering philosophy in a nutshell. Like, you know, everything wrapped up into how I make those decisions. And it's an ebook, and there's an audio book that goes along with it. It's on my site for sale for $19. It's like a $43 value or something. There's a couple extra trainings that go along with that as well. So there's like all kinds of goodies that go along with that.
So sign up for, jump in, do the 7-day trial, fall in love with Sarah, and stick and stay. Turn it into practical life skills training for our kids. And if our kids are older, assign them high school credit. This is amazing. Okay, so we do that. And so we follow that. And then they shoot you an email.
Yep.
Okay. And so what's your email?
Well, they'll be getting emails from me if
it'll be
signed up. But that's probably the easiest way.
So then they shoot you an email. We got this through A Better Way to Homeschool. And then, they get the step-by-step declutter, which I have to say, even your writing is as clear and succinct as just your heart is. So it's this, I know this because I have that book. I have Step-by-Step Declutter, and I open every single email that you send because it's not overwhelming, and it's beautiful, and it's always has one thing that I can always do one thing. And I love that. And so you guys will love it. So, okay, I think that's it. So Sarah, I cannot thank you for gracing us with your presence. This has been so much fun. Oh my gosh.
So fun. I love talking to you, and I just love what you're doing with your mom. So gosh, if I had you back when I was homeschooling, would have been a good thing.
That's okay. You had to get all this together so that you could help me now.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, so if anybody has any questions, let me know. I will make sure to shoot them on to Sarah. Now we can find you. I'm in your Declutter My Home group. So if you guys want to join Sarah, right, that's still open for people to jump
Absolutely.
in. Right?
Yeah, that's the free group. Yep.
Okay, so you can declutter my home, right?
Right.
Okay. And other than that, I think that's it. So everybody jump in. Let's all get into Organize My Home and check out. I can't wait to see everybody's success stories. I know a few of you that I'm expecting to be in because this is going to be life changing for everything. Oh, Gail says thank you. So you guys, this has been amazing. Sarah, you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Bekki.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye-bye.